All right, hey, what's going on, guys? It's SquireTrades here, back with day 2. We're gonna see how consistent I can stay with this, but really quickly, I don't have much time. I've got some friends coming over to grill out, have a little cookout tonight on this nice Wednesday. As you can see, it's 4 p.m., August 7th, and kind of what I had hoped for coming into today is exactly what played out, just not in the way that I wanted it to. So if we rewind back to yesterday, if I believe, if I'm correct, if my memory serves me right, we were looking at something like this. And kind of what I was hoping for was on this 4 hour chart was to come back, retrace into the equilibrium of this range, come here, sweep this external buy side liquidity, and then inevitably we would have our market structure shift here. And then at that point, we would have ideally, so we come up, we sweep the buy side liquidity, and then we come back, market structure shift, boom, right, dump, and then we would have taken these two relative equal lows that you can see down here, right? That is what I was hoping for. In the overnight session, we would come up in London, sweep the buy side liquidity, maybe consolidate a little bit, and then from 6 to 10 a.m. this morning, Eastern Standard Time, we would get this displacement move, we would get this market structure shift, we would create a 4 hour imbalance right here, and then eventually we would dump, take out this sell side liquidity, so on and so forth, right? So here's what actually ended up happening. All the way through 10 a.m., the overnight session didn't actually end up coming and sweeping our buy side liquidity like we had hoped for. That's okay. It's no big deal. Just got to remain patient, really, and kind of let the model play out and work itself out. But as you can see, we came up, swept this liquidity, and then this was actually a really weird move. So this big 4 hour candle here from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time, if you dig down into this 15-minute chart, you can see that this move didn't really begin until the lunch session, which was weird. So if you trade to traditional ICT, he'll tell you that your trade window typically is between, let's say, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. in the morning, with your silver bullet setup being from 10 to 11 a.m. and then the market opening at 9:30, right? So we come up here, and this morning at 9 o'clock, I have pictures, screenshots of this. I was hoping for a sweep of liquidity here, and then a clean displacement move, a clean market structure shift with a bearish fair value gap that we eventually end up retesting, hopefully before 11 a.m. Unfortunately, we didn't get that, right? So the market opens at 9:30, boom, we sweep our buy side liquidity here. Now I'm looking for a clean market structure shift fair value gap, right? And then hopefully, so this is what I was really hoping for. So we'd come up, we'd sweep this liquidity at 10 o'clock, right? And then I just wanted to see a displacement move here, a retest of the fair value gap, come sweep these externals, right? And then eventually, you see, sweep these externals here, right? Then at this point, we've created an inverse fair value gap here, and then I would hope that we created another fair value gap here that lines up. And then you can see kind of how this begins to build itself out, right? Sweep buy side liquidity. This was from Tuesday at what looks like 3 p.m. So this looks like Tuesday's session high. We would sweep yesterday's high, displace, create an inefficiency here, right? And then this inefficiency, this fair value gap is exactly where I would have been looking for my model to present. Had my model presented there, then it becomes a game of dropping down to the 1 minute and finding something that looks like this and then getting in short, right? Here is where I would get in short, put my stop loss at the swing high on the 1 minute, and then I would have different TPs, right? So my first TP would maybe be something in this range at this external, right? Sell side liquidity, and then eventually being down here at this external as well, which happens to, if we drag this out, pop back up to the 4-hour chart, you can see that this happens to line up with the market structure shift, right? So that would have been a beautiful trade. Then you also had this external liquidity to target that you could have reached for, and then your end goal obviously being something like this. So that's enough speech for what I was hoping for going into today. Let's kind of just run through really quickly and talk about what actually did end up playing out today. So let's get off of here. As you can see, we came, boom, we got our equilibrium, we swept our liquidity. You know, we had this imbalance up here that we didn't end up reaching into. I mean, we really didn't need to, no big deal there. We swept our liquidity, boom, right? We've displaced through this now. So for the next 55 minutes, I'm hoping to see some kind of continuation to the downside before the market truly closes. If you're familiar with ICT, you'll understand what a breaker block is, but really quickly, I'll explain it. We have one forming here on the 4-hour. Basically, what a breaker block is it looks something like this, okay? So the market is moving up, right? And then we put in a swing low, and then we clear this swing high, put in this here, retest, boom, right? So basically the model is you've got this as your liquidity sweep, right? So we swept this liquidity. Then we displace through the old swing low that we have here. And then the candle that created this swing low is what then becomes the breaker, right? And then ideally you displace through this breaker, through this swing low. That's your market structure shift, okay? And then once you get your market structure shift, we've displaced through this level. Now you also would have an imbalance or a fair value gap that's created here as well for a beautiful short setup, okay? So now keeping that in mind, let's move over here, right? So what do you have? You've got your swing high, right? You've got your buy side liquidity. That's what this is, okay? You've got your swing low right here at this level. Then we come up, we swept this buy side liquidity, right? Boom. Clean sweep right there of the buy side liquidity. Then what do we have? We have a huge 4-hour candle followed by another 4-hour candle that's displacing through this swing low, right? So this is going to be where we have our market structure shift laid out. And then, like I said earlier, what's the candle that is our breaker block? Our breaker forms from the old swing low that was displaced through. So currently, this was the old swing high, swing low, sweep the liquidity. What's our breaker? The candle that created the swing low. That's this. Boom. Now you have a 4-hour breaker block. All right. So what I want to see going into tomorrow, I want to see this move continue, hopefully overnight. Maybe we consolidate a little bit. And then I want to see us manipulate in the morning to this imbalance, to this breaker, maybe to this imbalance, right? Maybe we create a new imbalance here. I want to see accumulation. I want to see this manipulation. And I want to see this distribution going into tomorrow to eventually sweep this 4-hour sell side liquidity that we have resting here with these relative equal lows. So that's a little bit about what I'm hoping to see going into tomorrow. Those are my reactions for today. I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't end up taking any trades today. The 15-minute, as you can see during the New York session, was very choppy, right? So you've got I start looking at the markets for potential entries at 8 a.m. and then I stop looking for potential entries at 11 a.m. So this entire range, this was choppy. There's not really any fair value gaps to be made that are very clean, right? This is your only fair value gap that was made. It was very quickly disrespected and then was just entirely useless. There was really no benefit to that fair value gap. It didn't present any opportunity out of it, but I was watching on the 1 minute for any models to present, but that's not what ended up happening. It's no big deal. We'll take our ball. We'll go home. We'll come back tomorrow with a fresh head. We're going to have a great night tonight. Get some rest and just come back tomorrow with a clear mind, ready to follow the model, stay patient, and execute when the model presents. Thank you guys for watching. to anyone that is watching this, thank you specifically. And you guys have a great rest of your night. It's been SquireTrades.